In the world of MTG finance, Magic cards are never sitting still. And in today's video, we are going to discuss that dirty little secret that most players don't want to talk about right now, and that's old school Magic cards. Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. And a reminder before we start the video that if you want to see more of the gloriousness that is the Moxman, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and you'll see me every single day of the week until you decide you don't want to see me anymore. And then we'll still be friends. Don't worry, I won't hold it against you. Now today, the dirty little secret. Old school Magic cards. It's interesting in MTG finance how when you look at an old school card, when the market's hot, everyone's mentioning it. Have you looked at the beta cards? Have you looked at Unlimited? Man, look at the Arabian Nights cards. Because somebody's getting rich off of you falling into the hype, okay? But when the markets are down and the prices are really stagnant or even reversed from where they were, like right now, nobody mentions anything. They're sitting in the corner, not inviting you over to look. They don't want you to know. And the funny thing is, I'm not talking just reserve list cards in today's video. I'm talking old school Magic cards. If you go back and look at the Four Horsemen sets, you'll find lots of junk, lots of chaff that you can no longer play with in modern formats. But back then, there weren't a lot of cards to interact with modern cards because they didn't exist. And now, with all the amazing cards we have that Wizards of the Coast creates for modern play, some of these old Magic cards are downright brutal. They're devilish. They're evil on so many levels. They can mess people up. I mean, nobody uses banding anymore. Nobody thinks about building a banding deck. It's just too weak, too slow. It can't get really going. There's too many board wipes. But you know, there's a lot of big legendary creatures. And there's lands in Legends that are lands that don't tap for land, which seems kind of weird. But they allow you to band with other legends. So it'll say something like the Unholy Citadel or Sarah's Cathedral. These things say stuff like, what's it go? Because all your black creatures can band with other legends. So think about it. All your black legends can band with other legends. And I think the Sarah's Cathedral Sarah's Cathedral is like all white legends can band with other legends. Like they have all these different colors for each of the mana colors that can do crazy stuff. Those lands are a few bucks each. Now I'm not saying they're ever going to be worth a lot of money, but if they're down 60%, they used to be $15, $20, $25 and now they're $3. If you ever wanted to build a deck using something with banding, that's the time to do it. Go to Unlimited and get the Helm of Chesnuk that can make a creature band with another creature. If that's your deal, you want to try something else that's crazy that nobody expects, old school Magic cards can interact in crazy ways. And I'm not talking bog rats from the dark. Can't be blocked, can't be blocked by walls because walls aren't really around. People aren't really playing with walls as swords anymore. It's not a real defender of the keeping you alive like it used to be. But there's also cards that Wizards of the Coast created that they wish they could take back. There are land destruction cards like Stone Rain, but then there are land destruction cards like Flash Fires, like Tsunamis. Those cards that wipe out every single land type of a single color. Those cards are probably never coming back around. Like we haven't seen Tsunami printed in like forever. You can go get an unlimited copy for like $1. It is unlimited, so it's old. It's still super cheap, and blowing up everyone's islands can be hilarious. Again, depending how evil you want to be in whatever format you're playing in. Remember that. Some of these cards, who doesn't want to go back and use Force Field? Who doesn't want to put that in a commander deck and beat somebody down because it turns their 20/20 into a 1. It turns a creature hitting you for 500 damage into 1 damage. Yes, it is easily dealt with some kind of disenchant or some kind of crazy destroy target artifact stuff. I get it. But it only takes up 1 slot. And there's lots of ways of bringing those cards back. Why not an original OG Jester's Cap from Ice Age? Remember that card? Remove 3 cards from target player's library, and then you put the Jester Cap into your graveyard. But then think about all the ways, all the commander cards, all the amazing enchantment cards, creature cards that bring artifacts back, and not just to your hand, but put them back into play. I used to use it with good old Argivian Archaeologist, and that's what players aren't talking about right now. Is some of these cards are so inexpensive to buy that if you ever wanted to have a chance at building some of these old school decks that can still really mess people up, this is your chance. Get an original OG Zeranorb. Remember that card? It can like sacrifice a land to gain 2 life. Except for if you're using it in conjunction with things like balance, and you blow up all your land, all your opponents don't have land either. And if you've engineered your deck to work around that, they're done. And yes, I'm mentioning land destruction a lot because Wizards of the Coast has basically phased it out. They don't like using it. They don't like the game being bogged down. So when players are building constructive, creative, playful decks that will beat you on turn 5, they're not expecting a turn 3 blow everything up. It's brutal, and it can be a lot of fun, but it is very mean. Understand, I'm not talking about being nice here. I'm talking about old school Magic cards. Old school Magic cards were there to win. Remember the good old Juggernaut? 5/3, must attack every turn, cost 4 to get out. Nowadays, that's like a turn 1 card, depending on how you're playing your deck in Vintage and Legacy. And if you happen to put that into a Commander deck, it's going to get obliterated. It makes no sense to have a card like that. But maybe buying an OG Chain Lightning because it's beautiful and it's original and spending $10-12 on that as opposed to it used to be a $60, $70, $80 card, crazy. Original Ball Lightnings still run $30. But last year you could find them for $12. The old school market always tends to go quiet when the prices are low because nobody wants to sell in that low market. They want to make the markups. So when the market goes hot, that's when they tend to sell their cards, or if something in the market causes some kind of combination to appear, like we saw numerous times last year, Mind Over Matter, Soldevi Digger. There was a whole bunch of little combo cards that came out from new cards that Wizards of the Coast created. Now, that's going to happen. You can't really do anything about that. If you own the card, great. If you don't, you don't. But if you want to buy it at that point, you got to buy into the FOMO and pay a huge price. So you got to look for these cards and look for these opportunities when nobody else is looking. I was talking with people yesterday on my Discord and of course on my live stream about cards like Land Equilibrium. And that card says whenever a player plays a land, as long as you have as much land as them, they got to sacrifice a land for every land that goes into play. So they can't have more land than you. It's got to be equal, right? That card was like $800 and now it's like $80. But again, it's an old school Magic card. But how often is it being played? Because that's the flip side. Not all these cards are eternal format cards. Not all of them are going to find competitive play, which means they shouldn't be demanding a high price for these cards. But old school Magic cards sometimes do, just because by their age, they are old. Legends, Antiquities, The Dark, Arabian Nights, Unlimited, Alpha, Beta. These cards can be so expensive even if they're not great by today's standards. And the ones that are still really good, which of course, the blue chip ones, we're talking like the Force Fields, Copy Artifact, cards like Fork, even good old school things like Demonic Tutor. Finding an unlimited Demonic Tutor for less than $100 is beautiful to add to, not just to bling out your deck, but to have that conversation piece about how old the cards really are. And when they get cheap, when they're on sale, when it's a moderately played or a heavily played copy and you just want to play with it, you can save so much bank just by buying these cards when the market is low, which still right now to this point is. And that's why you're not hearing a lot about it. People on this channel who've been around for a while know, like when the Dark was so low for the 20K party, I was buying thousands of Dark cards to build up positions in these cards, common, uncommon, rare, whatever I could get for a good deal. I bought a lot of them to consolidate positions in these cards for the future. I don't care if they're ever going to be worth a lot of money. I wanted to own a lot of them. And it cost me pennies on the dollar from where they were a couple of years ago. So depending on what cards you're looking for, and sometimes you just need an idea, write it down. Take a look at the cards that fit the idea, because you forget sometimes how many amazing cards actually exist out there that just have never been put back into circulation for various reasons. Wizards wants a fast game. They can't take away the cards they've created, and these casual formats, they allow for them, so you can build things that stop creatures, you can build things that take away flying, you can build things that take away damage or mitigate damage. And most players are not used to seeing that, so it adds that extra level of play experience and conversation, which is what the game can be all about for a play group of players just having a good time. And surprising someone with a deck they never expected can have an entirely different effect on your play group that really can't be understated. And it's brought to you by old school cards that are basically pennies on the dollar. Seriously, guys, look at cards like Life Grip and Death Grip. Take a look at the old Stone Rain cards. Take a look at a Hurloon Minotaur. Didgeridoo. Look at these amazing cards and tell me they're not worth that value just for the experience of owning them and collecting some of them when they're this cheap, when you're paying $1, 50 cents, 25 cents. Yes, some cards like Balance are still going to run you $100 for an unlimited balance, okay? Or a few $100 if you want a beta, or $1,000 if you wanted to have an alpha. I understand. But there are cheaper options. There are cheaper ways of getting those cards and still having it really be an experience to play with. And the players who own these cards, the ones who are selling it, will never hype it up when the market is down. They are going to wait till later. So you guys know now that this is your chance to take an opportunity, in my opinion, to look for some of these cards, look for some of these experiences you're trying to build for yourself, and have a good time hunting down some of these cards that you've either never known about, wanted to play with, or wanted to enjoy an experience trying to build with. Either way, I think it's a great time to be in Magic. I think this is an amazing period to buy Magic cards, and I myself am taking advantage of it whenever I have the opportunity, depending on what I'm creating, especially in Commander right now. So thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for sitting here, chilling out with the Moxman. I hope you guys had a good time, and let me know of any of the amazing cards you've been buying. Put those comments in the comment section, guys. Let us know some cards you think are underrated, that are old school Magic cards that players may want to buy. I mean, some people just like the old school foils. Some people love collector edition cards, not 30th anniversary, but collector edition, international edition, and they want those experiences to be able to bring those cards with the black border back to life. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks for being here on the channel. I can't wait to read your comments tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone, and remember, it's a great day in the world of Magic the Gathering, and don't forget, bring a friend to Magic. A shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons we have supporting the channel each and every day. Because of these amazing patrons and supporters, daily uploaded content is made possible for everyone to enjoy. So thanks again for being loyal supporters of the channel, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for another video. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble, and guess what? We are talking Deadpool and Wolverine. I love the look of that movie clip. Okay, if you guys didn't see that trailer, I recommend you watch the trailer. I think it's going to be phenomenal. I'm looking forward to it, and they better not mess this up because I will never forgive them. Don't ruin it for me. Okay, we're at the end. Don't forget to put Necronomicon in the comment section so I know you made it this far in the video. I know you truly care. I know you showed up and sat through, brought your popcorn, your nachos, and cheese, and of course you found me in this nacho cheese universe that is YouTube. And here we are together. Shop smart, shop smart. And yes, old school Magic cards are really cheap. And I don't think people realize how cheap some of these cards are from where they were. And that lends me to believe that there are some real opportunities to buy some of these cards. In my opinion, some are way too cheap. Yes, I could have compiled a list, but I think it best to let people kind of search this out for themselves. Everyone has different card things they're after. So me trying to directly steer people to a card, and it might be a card that they maybe aren't even interested in, I think it's better to let people explore. But I want to see what people put in that comment section too, to see how spicy things get. Either way, awesome time to be shopping in Magic. I'm picking up more old school cards for the channel all the time, so I think it's going to be great. All right, we're in for a good year this year. Thanks a lot, guys, for hanging out. Thanks for being here at the Ramble Jamble ending. And hey, what's that?